Spatial ecology provides courses in open source software for the geospatial data processing in the term of geocomputation and machine learning, and has been achieved such a goals and such a course for several years in different parts of the world. We use the spatialecology.net platform to hosting our training and also our material for the courses. In particular, behind the Spatial Ecology net platform, there is Tushar Sethi, the head of the operation Spatial Ecology, myself, Giuseppe Matulli, geodata scientist Spatial Ecology, and Lunzu Shen, scientific advisor for Spatial Ecology. In particular, myself, Giuseppe, and Lunzu, we are the trainer for the different courses in geocomputation and machine learning applied to geographical data. In this aspect, today we are going to talk about installing OSGeoLive for spatial ecology courses. OSGeoLive is a Linux virtual machine and is going to be extremely useful in our courses for having a common virtual machine, Linux virtual machine, customized for the different needs of the courses, but also equal to all the students. OSGeoLive is coming as it is, and you can click on this link and go in directly to the website. And you can see that it's going to be is based on Ubuntu, actually Lubuntu, where is populated with all the geographical software. Over here you can already see a preview of the software that are inside. So during this video we are going to follow this tutorial under this virtual machine OSGeo setting URL, and you can find directly in the Spatial Ecology website under the Linux virtual machine. We're going to follow this tutorial how to install the OSGeo and populate it with additional software. So going directly to the OSGeo, you can do the downloaded, but before to understanding the downloading, to see the downloading, we need also an additional software, VirtualBox. VirtualBox is a virtualization software that is allowed to hosting the OSGeo as a operating system. So in your case, you can go directly with the VirtualBox, and under the download, you can downloading directly your the one suitable for your operating system. So in case people with Windows already, they can download from here. Rather with macOS, they can install it from here. VirtualBox is nothing else that in an empty software, in particular is this one. So you can proceed with the normal procedure for your operating system, and later on we can see how we upload it inside to the VirtualBox, the OSGeo. So after having installing VirtualBox, following this link that I just clicked it, we can see how is the procedure to install the OSGeo. So for the OSGeo, you can go directly through the link over here and arriving to the hosting of the different version of the virtual machine, the OSGeo. In particular, we are going to download the last one. In this case, now speaking is the 13. And after you click it on the 13, you can start downloading this file. So the 7Z file that is 3.4, and is going to be take quite a while. So I already pre-downloaded, and the point that in the moment that is already pre-downloaded, you can start to unzip it in according to the 7-zip in according to the 7-zip software that you can have for the different for your operating system like Windows or Mac. Once it's unzipped, as you can see, it's going from 3.4 to 12 gigabytes. So be ready to have quite a lot of space until at least 40 gigabytes in your hard disk in order to operate with this virtual machine. So this is going to be the file that we are going to ingest, and we can see how inside to the VirtualBox. Pay attention that this one is quite large file, as I say, 12 giga. It is going to become bigger and bigger. In this file, there are hosting all the different software. Is a full operating system. So if you want to transfer the same file to another machine, you can follow the same procedure. So all your data inside the virtual machine, all the software are going to be hosted inside to this file. So it's quite good for didactical purpose, because all the people, all the students, also the teacher, ourselves, will have the same perfect clone of the machine, and we can eventually replicating, helping you for the troubleshooting, having all of us the same machine and so on. So we are going to see how to proceed with the installation of OSGeo. So we are going to follow this tutorial step by step, so we can go together with the installation. So when your VirtualBox has been installed in your operating system, you can, of course, clicking open is going to appear completely an empty box. Indeed, VirtualBox is also the name, is a VirtualBox completely empty, where we are going to load it, the operating system that we just downloaded, OSGeoLive. So at this point, you can click directly in the button New. This one that I just clicking, and you can arrive to these new windows where you can write OSGeoLive 13. So of course it's going to be a Linux operating system. You can leave this one, can change from the different your operating system, so you can leave it the default, so don't change it. Over here you can click, and we are going to install it on Ubuntu version 64-bit. Be careful for this kind of setting. There are some computer that in the beginning the Ubuntu 64-bit is not showing up. It's just showing up the 32-bit. This is mean that your BIOS is not ready for a configuration, is not enabled the virtualization. So if you Google in this page directly, you can arrive to something, and you can see how to enter into the BIOS and how to changing your setting to a full virtualization issues, allow the virtualization. So the BIOS are different from computer to computer, PC to PC. So be careful, and searching usually is under advanced or under security, and you can click and you can have something like enable inter-virtualization technology, and has to be enabled. But again, it can be changed a bit. First boot device, no, in this case, no, but can be changed directly in according to the different BIOS setting. Anyway, it's always under the word allow virtualization or CPU virtualization enable and so on. So it can be under different, so try to click somewhere in the BIOS until you find it. Anyway, if the case of Ubuntu 64-bit is coming up immediately, is not an issue. You can proceed with the operation. So at this point that you select all the different, you have in line all the different setting, you can proceed. You can click next. At this point, we are going to setting up the RAM the virtual machine is going to use it. We are going to have an hosting plus a guest operating system. In our case, the guest operating system is going to be the virtual machine. As you can see, this one is the virtual machine, is the RAM available for the virtual machine inside to my Windows with my Linux machine. I have already a Linux machine, so of course do not overpassing. If you stay between, let's say between 2000 and over, is much more than enough for following up the course. I have a bit more, so I can arrive to 3000. Of course, do not overpass the red area. But if you have 16 giga, you can even increase a bit more to 4 giga. 4 giga, so 4000 megabyte. So at this point that we set up the RAM, we can proceed in the next step. And be careful about this point. We are going to load it. The file that we just unzip it. Okay, we zip it previously. Be careful about the over here, because the setting, the default setting is not the one that we are going to use it. So we are going to click and now you can go migrate where you have your file downloaded. In my case, I create a VirtualBox. I create a VirtualBox file under my home, so I know directly that is going to be there. So be careful because this one can change from operating system to operating system. So at this point over here, the file is ready to load. So I can select the VMDK, not the 7-zip. So the VMDK, actually the 7-zip is still there, but is not visible. So at this point, you can load it. You can leave it this one completely empty, and you can proceed once more and say created. At this point, the virtual machine appear, but before starting the real configuration, we need to calibrate setting more setting parameters. So you can click at this point. Over here, and we can follow the procedure and having step by step. As a first part, we are going to have it the sharing folder. So we are going to click on shared over here, and we are going to click add. So be careful about it, is again hidden a bit over here, and we are going to migrate in particular where you have a sharing folder. What I suggest in particular is to create a sharing folder under your tree structure, under your path directory, and in particular I create directly under my home, but Windows user can directly create under the documented setting, documents. At this point, you can create a folder that you are going to call LVM_shared. So please create this folder before to do this operation. I did already. So at this point, the sharing folder is ready to be loaded. Okay. Please give also the same name, because it's going to be much easier later on to follow the courses, and also because some settings have been already configured to have over here the sharing folder. So at this point, the sharing folder is loaded. Okay, these are files that are inside to this folder, to my folder in this case. In your case, it will be completely empty. So you can say open. So as you can see over here, you will have your Windows or your Mac path. Okay. At this point, you have to click again auto mount, means that it's going to be mounted and linked every time that you start a machine. And it's going to be also over here, the mounting point is going to be LVM shared. Okay. Once again, keep it the same name, because it's going to be much easier when we setting up path for the scripting procedures and so on. So you can click now OK. So the sharing folder has been set. Let's set some other aspect. In particular, we go back to general, and we go and we click in advanced, and we click in shared clipboard and drag and drop. So these one are quite important setting for the copy paste procedure between your Windows and Linux, or your Mac and Linux. And it's going to be also the dragging from the desktop moving from the desktop or from one folder to the virtual machine and so on. So this also is quite handy for different kind of application. So at this point, you can close this window. You can say OK. You can go back to the setting. In particular, you can click over here in this menu bar, and you can create a snapshot. So the snapshot is nothing else that a fixed moment of your operating system that is very useful if you want to go back in time if something that you have been broken or has been damaged So I suggest to do it during the course every 2 weeks. In this way, if you have a really big problem, you can always go back in the image. So at this point, you can say take, okay. And usually, what I give is the date of the day. So in this case, it's going to be April 03. In my case, 2021. Okay, and these are helping you to locate which is the date that you are going to load in case something happens. Okay, so we can proceed afterwards. So you can go back you can go back to the details, and at this point you can click start. If everything will be, you follow along, it should be starting like now. And let's see if it's starting also for me. So it's coming up in the other screen. I bring it back over here. So my virtual machine is loading now. So it seems that it's going fine. You can close these little pop-up windows that are coming up. They're not really important. So at this point, you can see I can overlap into these other windows that are not anymore needed. And I can even get a bit more space over here. So it's going to ask immediately if you want to update. You can say don't upgrade now. We are going to do it. We are going to do it later on with a command line. So it's fine even if you decline for now. So this one is the welcome message for the OSGeoLive that you can read carefully in details. And over here in particular, we are going to follow a procedure to update the virtual machine. First of all, update with the Ubuntu, or in this case is a Lubuntu operating system update. So this one is the so-called bash terminal over here, this green icon. So you can click directly. It's going to come. It's going to arrive. It's going to pop up the bash terminal where we can write it directly with the operating system. So at this point we can type. So I suggest to type for now because we didn't activate some options that are coming later on. So we can do sudo apt update, and this one is going to be the update of the operating system. So what does mean that the operating system is going to compare what you have, all the packages that are in the machine towards the one that are in the repository, and making a checklist, let's say. So whenever you start, you enter, the terminal is going to ask the password. Be careful about this one. The password is user, and when you type, so for example, now I'm typing, you don't see anything, but this is just for security, but is recorded, the typing has been recorded, so at this point you can click enter. Okay, so this one will take probably 30 seconds. Mm-hmm. And at this point you can run the second command, sudo apt upgrade. Okay, with the -y. The -1 is useful to not keep asking every time, and you can pressing enter. In the moment that you press enter, at this point is going to start the real upgrading of the operating system. This one can take a while, even 10 minutes. So I will stop, pause the recording, and coming back as soon as it's coming up. So there can be some cases where a Windows appearing, and please proceed just accepting the default and proceed with the installation. At this point, the installation is over, and you can see that the terminal is ready again for additional operation, and we can proceed in installing the Virtual Addition add-on. In this case, you have to follow the instruction over here that in particular say click device, insert guest addition CD. It's going to ask him to download. You say okay, download it. It's going to ask to download this file, download it, and it will take a few seconds. And later on we can proceed by installing, because now it's just downloading, following these two lines over here. The VirtualBox guest edition are in particular useful to allow this drag and drop or copy paste between your operating system and your virtual machine. So they are quite useful for this aspect. So be careful about this operation, because it's also allowed to allow the full screen view. In some operating system, they are not so easy to have a full screen view of the operating system. Sometimes it's very small, so even the font is very small. So after that you proceed with this operation, should be bigger and full functional. It's going to ask again if you want to replace it. You can say yes, okay. You can say insert, and it's ready to be operational, running this operation. This pop-up window is going to appearing, so please cancel it. At this point we can run the following line. So we can enter in the C media, so cd/media/user/VirtualBox. Okay, so we enter in particular in this one, that is the last one that we are downloading, and at this point we can do sudo./vbox linux additions run, and again it's going to could be that it's going to ask the password is again user. Just type, you will not see, but you can press enter in the end. It's going to wish you want to continue. Yes, perfect. Okay, so at this point it's going to install this guest addition that are useful for what I said before, drag and drop, and also enlarge and complete the window. So this operation of being in full screen mode in for the virtual machine. So this will take a few seconds to install it, and after we are going to reboot the machine in order to finalize the updating of the system and running this additional line to proceed with the updating of the machine with additional software and with the data. Okay, at this point also the guest addition has been over, so we can close this window and we reboot the system. So this is a full independent operating system, so we can completely shut down. In particular, we can reboot. And during the reboot operation is going to be finalize the update. Also the sharing folder is going to be mounted. Also the virtual guest addition are going to be taking place and full functioning and so on. So these are the windows that you can close. And anyway, try to read before to close it, in order, because some of them they allow some shortcuts for the full screen and so on. So you can close at this point. So after the installation of and the final reboot, we can proceed once again with the installation of additional software. So in this case, we just enter in the terminal once again. We can enter in cd/tmp, and we can wget this scripting procedure that allow. So now, for example, the copy paste from here to here should be available, and it is. So at this point I can just put in the front wget, perfect, is there. So I can enter. Also this operation, it could be that this one is going to very short. This is just a script. This one is the one that is going to be long. And also in this case is going to ask again the password. So I can copy paste again now the copy paste is working fine. It's going to ask again the password, that is again user. He's typing, but I don't see it. When I finish, enter. And now he's proceeding with the installation of different software that we are going to use it with the course. So at this point, the virtual machine should be full functional. So sometime it's still under this low, let's say low, not full screen. Sometimes it's happening that the guest addition has not kicked in. So we will see when it's happening again. When this installation is over, we can proceed to do once more the reboot, and should be come to the same, to all of them, to the full screen option. So as soon as the installation is over, so this line has been completed, and you can see that the terminal is back to the prompt where you can keep typing again. We can start to work in the direction to see if all the software are being installed correctly. So we can run, for example, pk filter --help. This will help us to see if pk filter has been installed correctly. So in the moment that you can see all the manual, all the flag for the command means that the software is installed correctly, and you can also testing in this way by typing pk and then pressing twice a tab, and you can see all the different software of the pk tools that has been installed, and maybe you can try even another one like pk replus, the same with help, and the manual will appear. Another important software for massive opening of satellite image is the OpenEV. So we can run directly after the installation. We can source key in the basher in order to read the one alias that I create inside to the script, and then we can open with OpenEV this image. OpenEV is very fast, as you can see, is popping up extremely fast, and is able to open shapefile or even raster file. So it's very common for this operation. It has a very fast rendering in zoom in, zoom out, and you can have a bit of color changing, stretching, or the changing with this 4 button. It's not a fancy software for GIS, but his speed in showing even tiles, different tiles of image is really promising for massive computation visualization of the massive computation. Perfect. Then the last one that we can test it is RStudio, that has been also installed during the procedure. So we can see, that RStudio is also loading correctly. So at this point, take a bit of time, but all the software has been installed over there and they can be ready to use it. Last one that we have to check during the installation provision, we also downloaded the file that are going to use during the course. So if you go lsse/data over here, you can find all the lecture and exercise data that we're going to use it. So these are very promising, and we are going to work in this spatial ecology _ data for all of the course. Perfect. They could be that during the course we'll provide some other software and also data, and in that case we will provide additional line to update for everybody the additional material that we are adding. So good luck with the course, and see you online in the next lecture.